Hello and welcome to Reality Check. Tonight, a controversy after the Indian arm of the UK-based publishing house Bloomsbury backed out from publishing a book on the Delhi riots. The book, called Delhi Riots 2020, The Untold Story, has been described by its authors as exposing the jihadi Naxal lobby behind the riots. Now, for those who came in late, the controversy first erupted when an invitation to the book's launch was circulated on social media, which had as chief guest Kapil Mishra, the BJP leader, accused as one of the instigators of the riots. It also carried the Bloomsbury logo at the bottom. Soon after, as outrage mounted, Bloomsbury said that they have no involvement with the launch and that their logo was used without permission. Later, they said that they're not publishing the book at all, adding that they're in support of freedom of speech but also have a responsibility towards society. Bloomsbury didn't explain how, if they had concerns about the book, was it cleared for publication in the first place. They've also not yet acknowledged whether the decision to withdraw was based on pressure from its other more established authors. The writer and historian William Dalrymple, a Bloomsbury author, told the Guardian newspaper that Bloomsbury was alerted by him to the online growing controversy over the Delhi riots book, as did several other Bloomsbury authors. He says he didn't call for the banning or pulping and has never supported the banning of any book. It is now being published by another press. The book is now indeed being published by a Delhi-based publishing house called Garuda Prakashan. All of this is a series of events which has sparked fierce debates on everything from freedom of speech, publishing practices to the continuing left liberal hold over the publishing ecosystem. All right, joining us tonight on the show, we have with us Prerna Malhotra, who's one of the co-authors of Delhi Riots 2020, The Untold Story. Joining us from New York is Atish Taseer, writer and journalist. Also joining us is Hindol Sen Gupta, also a journalist, author most recently of Recasting India. We have Dalia Sen Oberoi with us, who is a lawyer specializing in intellectual property rights and has actually represented publishing houses that have come under legal and other forms of pressure for their books. And Arunava Sinha is also with us, translator, professor of creative writing. Thank you all so much for joining us. Prerna Malhotra, if I can just start with you. Now, one of your co-authors, Monica Arora, we'd invited her on the show as well, but she couldn't make it, has been tweeting about what happened to your book and describing this as an attack on freedom of speech. But the counter view is that this is not really freedom of speech, because there's no actual ban of the book. It was just that people objected to Bloomsbury publishing it, and Bloomsbury pulled out, and now you found another publisher. So how is this about freedom of speech?
The point is that the book had gone through all the processes. It was reviewed by the Bloomsbury team, whether it was the editorial team, it was vetted by the legal team, the cover and everything. I mean, each content, each word of the book, it was verified by them only. And even about the launch program, which they had an information about it. They were very much informed who were the guests. They knew about it. I mean, nothing was happening without their knowledge.
They knew about everything. They even knew about the launch program and the fact that Kapil Mishra was going to be attending?
Exactly. They knew about it. On 19th of August, we had sent an email to them informing them about the program. We sent the same poster which we shared on social media with Bloomsbury, and we invited them to the program. We shared the flow of the program with them. And in fact, they told us that they have a meeting at the same time, so they can't make it for the program. But they never objected to the fact whether, I mean, why we had invited Kapil Mishra to the program. They had a knowledge of it, and it all happened after that I mean, when many people on Twitter, they started a kind of hue and cry about it.
Did they, if I may just jump in for a second, did they offer you any explanation as to why they pulled out? After they decided to pull out from publishing, did they explain to you why?
I am sharing it with you. I'm putting it on record that till date, they have not even sent a single line email to us informing us that they have withdrawn and why have they withdrawn. So whatever they have done, it's well, only, I mean, we had the program on 22nd, the launch program,
Right.
and immediately
If they
before
have-
the program,
Yeah.
we received a call. We received a call from Bloomsbury that they are withdrawing. So we asked them, how can it happen? You have already delivered 100 copies to us,
Right.
to the authors. They are with us. And we have also shared them with some of the people, and still some of the
What did
copies are
they say?
lying with us.
And
So
what did they say to
yes,
that?
They said that they have a pressure, things are out of control, and they can't help it, and they can't tell in detail what exactly has happened,
Okay,
but they can't
so
go
that's
ahead.
so
we
my
said-
question is
we
so
said-
here's my question,
requested
that is if that is indeed true, and by the way, we tried to call a representative of Bloomsbury on the show, but no one was forthcoming. If all that you say is true, it's completely shocking of Bloomsbury to do that. But how does that still amount to a suppression of freedom of speech? Because there is no ban on the book. It's just one publisher is pulled out, you can go to another one.
So in a way, you are trying to justify whatever happened to us is all right. Whatever Bloomsbury
I'm not
did to us is
justifying
all
anything.
right.
I'm not justifying anything. I'm simply asking you a question as to how this falls
Yeah.
under the ambit of a freedom of speech violation. That's all. And you just heard me condemn Bloomsbury, if indeed all that happened to you is true.
Yeah, it is true. Whatever I'm saying, each word is true, and we have the proofs. And whenever required, we'll
Okay.
present the facts.
Okay.
And
Let me
on Twitter also, on social media, we have been facing verbal stone pelting on us as authors.
Okay,
Our
verbal
work has
stone
been
pelting.
podcast and whatnot.
Let me
Without-
come to all of that in
without
just a
anyone
second.
knowing.
Let me come to all of that in just a second. Let me just go across to Atish Taseer. Atish Taseer, now you tweeted saying that this is essentially the fact that Bloomsbury has pulled out of this book essentially has nothing to do with freedom of speech. There's a difference in the world between defending the individual right to expression versus state coercion. Could you explain what exactly you mean by that, and why this Bloomsbury's pullout is not a freedom of speech issue?
Well, let me say to you at once. Firstly, I feel very sympathetic for the authors. It's obviously not their fault, but a publisher in print is a mark of quality, and it's a scandal to me that the imprint of Ondaatje and of Hosseini and of people. If Bloomsbury in England and America was publishing white supremacists, I would be completely fine with them doing the same in India. But what's obviously happening is that Bloomsbury, under the leadership of Rajiv Berry, has been infiltrated. So this book is the tip of the iceberg. And you see a whole stable, people like Agnihotri, David Frawley, they're completely against the values of Bloomsbury as it exists in England and in America. And so the problem obviously lies with Bloomsbury. It's not the author's fault. Now, I want to, one is familiar with the environment in India, and one is a little bit surprised that an independent publisher like Bloomsbury should be so cozy with the senior leadership of the BJP. These authors, for instance, have all the support of people like Kapil Mishra, Sambit Patra. There are certain lines that we preserve between independent publishing and the role of the government and the state. And those lines have obviously been blurred. And it's not possible for a publisher like Bloomsbury to defend the standards that it maintains in England and America and then be doing this on the side in India.
But Atish, when you use language like infiltrated by the BJP, or you talk about the fact that why would they publish something like this and have different standards, would you like to explain what you mean? Do you mean simply the fact that these books or these authors represent, let me finish the question, represent an ideological view which you think goes against Bloomsbury's? Or are you also talking about the factual standards? Are you also talking, when you talk about standards, are you talking also about the factual standards at play?
Well, firstly, both things. The first point is that you don't have David Duke of the Ku Klux Klan appearing at an event for a book about Charlottesville in America. Bloomsbury does stand for a certain for certain values that do not include white supremacy. They don't include Hindu supremacy. And these writers, one after the other, are part of the very ugly ideology of the BJP, and they have no place as part of an imprint like Bloomsbury. Every publisher, the very idea of an imprint is the idea of a certain quality, of certain standards, and those things can't be ignored just because it's happening in India. So certainly on an ideological level, a publisher has every right to defend its values, and it must defend them across the board. The second point is
on this channel, what are you trying to say about standards?
Like books that
what
publish
is this
all the time without fact-checking procedure.
Okay.
So I don't know if those would be, I don't think there is a filter of that kind.
All right. Atish Taseer, we'll have to leave it there. Prerna Malhotra, you wanted to come in. Can I just go across? I will definitely let you respond, but are you okay if I could just go across around the panel and then come back to you? Prerna Malhotra?
Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Okay. Hindol Sendukpura, how do you respond to what Atish Taseer said, that while certainly the authors can't be blamed for Bloomsbury's actions, the fact is that how would such a book, according to him, have even been published in the first place, something that wouldn't stand up to the rigor and the standards or the scrutiny of its international or its Western imprints?
I have no comments to make on anything that Atish Taseer has said. will stick to one comment and one comment only.
Okay.
This is a slippery slope. And as this happens more and more, there will be more backlash. There is an edifice of people, made up of people, who believe that they control certain parts of any country's economy. This is being challenged around the world, sometimes with responsibility, sometimes not with so much responsibility. Be that as it may, this is a slippery slope, and this will happen now that this has happened. There will be more and more pressure built on by all kinds of people on all kinds of writing. And this can only mean bad news in the world of words. And
when you say,
mark my words, Srinivasan, let me finish. Mark my words.
Yes.
We may think that this is confined to India.
Right.
It is not. This will happen in other parts of the world. The world is too small today for something like this to happen in a country like India, and not for it to reverberate in other parts of the world.
Hindol, when you say edifice of people who are sort of, could be, or if I understood you correctly, who are in a sense responsible for putting pressure, I'm not clear exactly what you mean by that, because I'm not sure anymore if it's fair to say, especially in today's India, that you could, if you're gesturing towards the sort of left liberal ecosystem, if they are the sole arbiters of what gets published or not. In fact, as someone has pointed out, it's deeply ironical that one of the co-authors of this book has actually been very much part of an effort to get another book not published, which was the Wendy Doniger book. And indeed, under pressure, that book wasn't published.
There is a difference. May I intervene?
Can I answer that question?
Can I just get Hindol's response? Yes.
The edifice depends on which country. It depends from country to country. There are different edifices, as it were, in different countries.
So
we have to consider which country and what geography we are talking about.
So what's the edifice in India?
The fundamental fact is, certainly in India,
yes,
there has been a long history of a small bunch of people running and controlling certain parts. Now, many of that has been shaken up in the last several years, and more is underway. Some, as I said, for the good, and some a little acerbic. But be that as it may, we are in the middle of a big churn. My larger point, I think, is the more important point, which is this is a slippery cycle.
Right.
Once you start doing this, there will be more and more pressure. There is no end to this.
Okay.
Everybody or many other groups will find, and in our country, this is the problem. There are all kinds of people who you can't say anything about because pressure groups will now then get very angry.
When you say that's going to happen, that's already happening. We have unfortunately a long and tragic history of exactly that. Okay.
It is indeed tragic.
Let me. All right. Before I move on, I really must come back to Prerna Malhotra because she does want to jump in. Prerna Malhotra, the first point on the point of facts, which you said it was wrong of Atish Taseer to question the factual aspects of your book. But several people have pointed out that, in fact, your book is riddled with factual inaccuracies, and that's why the question about how it came to pass. You say that this book is largely, if I may just finish, that the book claims to be something that exposes the jihadi Naxal lobby behind the Delhi riots. There is apparently no reference in your book to the fact the highest number of casualties in the riots, close to 80%, were in fact Muslims, and they were the ones who suffered the maximum amount of damage. Your book airbrushes the role of Kapil Mishra and other BJP leaders in inciting riots. You claim Pakistan Zindabad slogans were raised at Shaheen Bagh without citing a source. Your foreword actually attributes a fake quote to Nehru, the Muslim by culture, Hindu by accident of birth quote, something which has been debunked countless number of times.
The first thing, may I ask you, Mr. Jain, have you read this book?
No,
or anyone who is claiming that this book has many factual fallacies, have they read this book?
Yes, according to, I'm quoting from a piece in News Laundry and the Quint of reporters who say they've read the book and they've gone through it and pointed out chapter by chapter multiple inaccuracies. I'm just citing only some.
So you are citing some fake portal. That's what you are doing.
Fake portal.
And about the foreword, it's a foreword. We cannot take the responsibility of a quote of the person who has written the foreword.
Okay.
And moreover, if you are trying to sort of judge the procedure of editing and all that procedure of Bloomsbury, they have gone through it several times. Okay. We were in touch on telephone, we were in touch on email, they were sending us the proofreads, then we were making some, they made some suggestions, we made the changes, and then the final copy came to us, and then they said this is final and this will be published. And in fact, they did publish it.
Okay, Arunava Sinha.
So, and the second thing, please let me complete. Just a moment, the point which was made, you made a point about Monica Arora, that she was one of the lawyers of that book related to Wendy Doniger.
Yes.
So there is a difference.
What's the difference?
The book was in the market, the content was read, and it was realized that the content is not accurate, and they challenged it in the court. There is a difference. There is a difference. Like the way
how is that different?
The publication mafia, they worked in this case, the Delhi riots book, and there is a difference that they went to the court. They did not storm otherwise, like they did not.
How is that different? You went to court to get a book banned, and ultimately the book was withdrawn. So whether you went to court or you put pressure through the public forum, how is that any different? Anyway, we have with us Dalia Sen Oberoi, who's actually, she was the lawyer for Penguin, if I'm not mistaken, Dalia, during the entire Wendy Doniger dispute.
Yes, that's right.
So how would you respond to what you just heard?
Good evening, Srinivasan. Thank you very much for inviting me to this forum. I definitely was. I lived the Hindus case, and it is rather ironical that Monica Arora, who is one of the co-authors here, did everything within her might to put a gag on free speech, if I may say so, throttle free speech. Because at that time, I think no one has mentioned the elephant in the room was the problem then was hurting of religious sentiments. So I think it is rather convenient to choose between free speech when convenient, and when not convenient to then rely upon hurting of religious sentiments.
But equally,
I think it cannot be either or.
Okay, but Dalia, equally,
free speech is
okay. But Dalia, equally, there was criticism of the fact that Penguin ultimately, I think for about 4 years, if I'm not mistaken, fought it, but then ultimately caved and backed down. Why did that happen?
Caved is a very strong word. Caved is a very strong word, Srinivasan.
Okay.
I just want to request all of us across the board not to rely solely on news reports, what we read, even now when we are criticizing Bloomsbury, we don't know what
okay, so
the contract
do you know
says.
what happened with...
What is the contract that the author
since
signed with Bloomsbury?
Since you were privy to what happened with Penguin, are you able to share with us then what happened?
Of course, I will share what can be shared. There is, of course, I am bound by confidentiality.
Right.
But I want to make it very clear that today, if Madam Arora is harping about Twitter deciding whether or not a book should see the light of day, I would also like to say that a confidential settlement agreement cannot be aired on Twitter, which is exactly what Monica and her client did at that time.
Oh, you're
Coming
talking
back
during
to the Hindus controversy.
Okay, you're talking during the
my
Wendy
client
Doniger time.
was being...
Okay. Arunava Sinha, are you surprised when you heard Prerna Malhotra say that in fact the book, the Delhi Riots book, had gone through all the due diligence at Bloomsbury?
Yes, I am surprised because it's one of the open secrets of publishing that there are 2 or 3 different forms in which publishing companies bring out their books. There's the one that we all imagine where they commission books and that goes through a due diligence of editorial process.
Okay.
But there's also a division which is not openly acknowledged all the time, which is called referred to as paid publishing, where either the authors or other organizations actually pay for certain books to be published. Now, they might pay directly as an upfront payment, or they might pay by buying back a certain number of copies of the book. Now, I obviously don't know which of the arrangements was in force for this particular book, but if it was one of the latter, one of the paid arrangements, then normally publishers do not pay much attention to the contents. Now, I'm generalizing, of course. I cannot speak specifically for this book.
Right.
But I think Bloomsbury in this case, because the whole thing has gone public and there's such a hue and cry that I think they owe it to everybody, including the very authors who have been talking about it. Authors who have threatened to withdraw their books and authors who have said that they are unhappy.
You're right. They must.
They must.
They must come clear. But let me ask. Let me just go back and to Prerna about that. That Prerna ji, as he was saying, that there are these formats where you also get, it's called vanity publishing. You pay and you get your book published. Now, was that the arrangement with your book, or no? That was yours. Was not that? Is that? Would you like to clarify?
How does it make a difference? I'm just trying to ask, how does it make a difference? You are deviating the debate from the real topic that was about freedom of expression and all, and then
but I'm asking.
Go to that case where Monica Arora, she was an advocate for a client. You went to that case, you talked about that in detail, and now you are talking, what are the terms and conditions? So I'm just
curious to know
about whether what happened with us, is it all right or not? Is it not the question that should be asked? You are in fact,
I'm asking you a simple question. Was this a paid arrangement with Bloomsbury?
Should this publication mafia bully others, bully the publication houses to ban books or not to publish them, to withdraw from them at the last moment?
I don't know. Firstly, when you keep saying publication mafia, who are you talking about? Who are you talking about? There's tragically in this country been a long tradition of books being banned across ideological spectrum. As we've just heard the example of a book by Wendy Doniger, which was objected to by the ideological right, and at the end of the day, it didn't see the light of the day, at least by Penguin. Someone else published it. So when you go on saying mafia, I hope you acknowledge that this is across the ideological spectrum. It's no longer in the hands of one or two people. Anyway.
It is based on ground research. It is based on ground research. It doesn't belong to any ideology as such.
Okay. All right. Okay. I would love to keep going, but I'm completely out of time. I'd love to come back to everybody, but I'm told.
Under the pressure
Okay, ma'am, we have to calm down. I don't know why you're shouting. It's a discussion. It's a civilized discussion, but we will try and come back to it. Obviously, there's much more to be said about it.
Am I not civilized?
Okay. All right. Thank you all. Thank you anyway for coming. Thank you all so much for joining us. We're completely out of time on Reality Check. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.